So, I haven't been keeping up with comic books too much since COVID.
I haven't been keeping up with comic books since this decade.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Not anything?
Not anything.
I'm like a couple big events,
Okay.
like every year or something.
You're a big event guy.
Yeah, I'm a big event guy. I'm not like the average shit.
The avid reader.
DC has something right now called Deceased.
Yeah?
And it's like kind of like Marvel Zombies, but it's like in DC.
Are they zombies?
Yeah.
Then it's exactly like Marvel Zombies.
Yeah, pretty much. But it's like, well, anyway, I'm not going to get into it. But it gets to a point, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where there's like a small group left and they're at the Fortress of Solitude. And the second strongest character in DC is
Shazam.
Martian Manhunter.
Oh.
Well, he's infected and he like fucking like pretends to be somebody else.
Yeah.
Shows up and then like gets the Flash. And now the Flash is a zombie and he's the fastest person on the planet.
Tag, you're it.
Yeah, so he's going around the planet just fucking infecting people and they don't even know he was there, right?
Yeah.
Superman's like, I'm not fast enough, but I can catch him on the other side of the planet, right? Catches him and then like he gets stabbed in the stomach.
Superman gets stabbed?
Yeah.
How'd he stab Superman?
He was going fast enough. I don't know. Comic bullshit. My point is...
Because DC.
Yeah, but my point is, there's this really cool moment where he's like going and he's like talking with everybody and he's like, these are the last moments I'm going to have of being sane. Like I got to say goodbye to my son, my wife, like all my friends, because I'm about to kill him because there's nobody left that can stop me.
Yeah.
And this is why, just logically, everybody knows about kryptonite.
Yeah.
Right? But don't you think Superman has one other like weakness that he's just never told anybody?
Maybe.
Like he could be like, okay, look, I'm about to kill everybody. So Lois, you have to kick me square in the dick. Believe it or not, no one's ever tried it.
Shit.
I will explode. I can bust from my balls.
What if he's like a crash dummy? You kick him in the dick and his arms and legs and head just fly off.
Yeah, they just...
He's been hiding it all along. Just no one's ever kicked him in the dick.
It just I couldn't say anything because Lex would find out.
Every Kryptonian.
Yeah. It's just been a family secret.
Right in the dick. It's like Goku's tail.
Uh-huh. Boom.
Well, damn it.
It doesn't happen, but I just thought it would be awesome.
Welcome to the Firebear Republic. I'm Jamie.
I'm Dustin.
And this week, we've got some cool shit from Spotify, which is something we've never talked about on the podcast before.
Oddly enough.
Spotify, yeah. There's a new Star Trek series.
Yeah.
There's a new movie franchise having a big old fucking spinoff.
Yeah. We've got like a lot of reboots.
The return of Mike Judd.
Hopefully.
There can be only one.
Only one?
Only one. And then, like most episodes, we're going to talk about some goddamn Star Wars because...
we love Star Wars.
George Lucas did... I want to love Star Wars. I think
Yeah.
George Lucas did something to me when I was younger.
You think he diddled you?
No, I don't think he diddled me.
What do you think he
I
did?
think he captivated me with his spell.
Oh. Daddy, would you like some sausage?
Damn it.
Jamie got fingered.
Dude, that movie would never fly now.
Oh my god, yeah, if that came out today, people would be so shitty about that.
Shit, that movie would not fly today.
Yeah.
Anyway, so up first though, Fallout is getting a show.
It's very timely, isn't it?
Yeah.
We're in the middle of the apocalypse.
And this this show will be about post-apocalypse.
We're in Virginia. Isn't that set in West Virginia or something?
Maybe. Do you think it's going to come out post-apocalyptically, or do you think we're still going to be in the apocalypse when it comes out?
They're just probably filming in Detroit. That's it. It's like...
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Either way, fuck Detroit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just, yeah.
I could see it.
Handy cam footage.
So it's Jonah Nolan.
Yeah.
The guy who did Westworld. It's Christopher Nolan's brother. He like co-wrote a bunch of shit with him.
That sounds very interesting.
He did
and that's like
Interstellar and 2 of the Batmans.
yeah. That was like the only reason I started Westworld.
Yeah.
Because like I heard that he was Chris Nolan's brother. And it sounds really cool.
Same. I only started Westworld because it was written by the guy that did Jurassic Park. And
That's what sold you?
it was being done by Jonah Nolan. And then
Yeah.
it turns out that the guy who wrote Jurassic Park wrote horrible stories. And the movie adaptation of Jurassic Park is much better than the show or the movie.
Huh.
I mean, I fucked that all up. The movie adaptation is much better than the book.
For Westworld or Jurassic?
For Jurassic Park. I'm not reading Westworld because I don't like the story at all. The first season story where you don't know what's going on was all right.
Yeah.
As soon as you know what's going on, it's like, God damn this fucking shit. Because it just drags and drags and drags and has no point. I don't care about their fucking struggle.
Yeah.
They're practically a bunch of goddamn toasters.
I mean, he's just kind of like one-note guy.
Yeah,
it feels like he doesn't like parks.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
He's like motherfucker theme park.
How un-American are you not to like theme parks?
Wasn't he British? I don't know.
Well, I don't know.
Anyway. So Fallout as a TV show is going to be on Amazon.
How interesting could this be? Like, I've never played Fallout. Like, I'm just going to throw it out there. Like, I own like 3 of them and I've just never gotten around to playing them for some reason. But as far as I understand, it's a story about kind of being on your own.
Yeah.
In the apocalypse.
Pretty much. It's very open. You just run around. I don't understand making shows out of open world shit.
Is it I Am Legend?
I guess there's a lot of lore.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of shit happens.
Like, you can tell
game,
a story within the lore.
Yeah. It's usually about, like, a guy who wakes up from a vault, like, people that, they were holding over till things got better, and then he has, like, amnesia or something.
I mean, it's pretty easy to do a show like that because you have, especially when it's a popular game, you're not really following a story from the game, so it's easy not to piss people off in the game that like the game. If you give them their like Easter eggs, they just sit there and like nut their pants.
Yeah, like, oh shit, he got radiation poisoning and he used rads.
Oh,
and
that's
now
what
he's
I
drinking
did in the game.
Yeah, now he's drinking Nuka-Cola.
Exactly.
Yeah,
like you just pander to them a little bit, and you can pretty much tell whatever story you want.
Yeah, I guess.
I think he can do it, man. I think when left to his own devices, he's a good writer.
He seems like a high caliber guy. Like, as far as the projects he worked on, even though Westworld was absolute garbage.
I almost feel like he should be too big for TV, and Westworld may have brought him down and put him in Amazon's ballpark. Where Amazon's like, we got you.
Or is it because the whole industry is moving away from the big screen?
That's true, too.
Yeah. Are we going to streaming services? Like, because
God, I hope
I don't know. Movie theaters seem like
they're not doing well.
Yeah.
They're not surviving 1 year of not making money.
Isn't
that terrifying?
What, the movie theaters?
One of the biggest industries in the United States, like, is in dire straits after 6 months.
Yeah.
You would think if you built something that had like longevity, that you'd be able to stop for a year if you wanted.
I don't know, because I mean, at this point, it's become like less of a necessary medium for getting new films, and more of like just kind of a luxury convenience type thing. And the world kind of shutting down for 3 months just proved how little we needed it.
Yeah.
I love it. Don't get me wrong. I love going to the movie theater.
Dude, I miss it so much.
Yeah. But we don't need to go to the movie theater.
I would go see a bad movie at the movie theater right now.
Yeah.
I'd probably wear a goddamn hazmat suit. But I would do it. I'd have fucking goggles and a mask on.
Respirator.
Yeah, just in case I keep it in my backpack.
One of those fucking grabbers that you get from like General Dollar or something.
Oh, I'm not having any snacks. Fuck that shit. Is it time to turn the garage into a theater?
Maybe.
Is that what we're gonna do for Greyhound next
week?
Yeah.
What was the thing you said last week? We're gonna have like Chris Nolan over.
Yeah.
And stuff. Yeah.
To premiere it in the garage.
He would be so down.
You hear that, Chris? You were invited.
Yeah.
We will screen your movie here. So shit. Speaking of things changing, though.
Yeah. And
So,
things
like-
on the decline.
Yeah. So Spotify is gonna do DC Comics,
Yeah.
like dramatic readings of DC Comics or like original content.
Yeah.
Like,
The thing I find so interesting about this news story, to be honest, is DC is always the one. Like, if you really follow DC and Marvel comics, right?
yeah,
DC will do something. Marvel waits to see how it works out for DC, and then they do it,
yeah.
right? In this case,
Mm-hmm.
exact opposite. They did it first with Wolverine.
True.
Yeah.
I don't know how many people watch that or listen to that.
Yeah, it was a very niche thing.
I think that the people that I know that were into it really enjoyed it.
Uh-huh.
I never got into it. It just didn't seem like my thing.
Well, they put it behind a paywall. It was like, it was available everywhere the first episode.
Yeah.
And then every episode beyond that was like on another subscription service that I didn't have anything to do with.
Huh.
And that's what makes this so exciting because I have Spotify.
I do too.
Yeah.
You know, Spotify is billing this as a podcast.
I think it's just because they don't know what to call it.
It's kind of.
I mean, you don't want to call it a radio drama because that sounds.
Yeah.
But I feel like this is. I love Audible.
Yeah.
Not a fucking sponsor.
I know. Yeah.
Right?
Please sponsor us, Audible.
But
I'll renew my subscription.
I love audiobooks, right? And I feel like this is the long form equivalent. Like we're gonna get like episode. Yeah, we're gonna get like television radio.
It's like episodically. We're
Yeah.
gonna get.
Instead
Okay.
of like a book being like a
also
movie.
enjoy Audible.
Yeah.
Not a sponsor.
Now we're gonna get like short little episodic audiobooks.
I fuck with it.
Right?
I was not excited about this, but I think you sold it to me.
Yeah. And like who
down.
has time to sit down and like read comics anymore?
See, that's the part that hurts because the thing I like the most about comics is the visualness.
Yeah. I do too. I do really enjoy comics. I just never get a chance to read them.
Yeah.
You know, it's really hard to be an adult and be like, I'm gonna sit down for an hour and stare at a book.
Yeah, I'm gonna read this book, this book, this book, this book, and this book.
Yeah.
I mean, if you only had one or two comics you were reading, like it's not a huge time commitment, you know?
No.
But they kind of intertwined them too much, like in the 80s,
Mm-hmm.
and they've never come away from that. They've always been like insanely intertwined moving forward.
Yeah. It's kind of a chore in and of itself just to figure out which book you need next. Sometimes. Like unless it's like a big event and it's like Civil War Volume 1, Volume 2,
Right.
Volume 3. Yeah, you kind of have to jump from this comic series to this comic series to this to that because it has a tie-in and it's
Yeah.
necessary to understand what happens in the next episode.
Sometimes there's like a bunch of stuff you can skip,
Mm-hmm.
but for the most part, if you want to know everything, and I think if you're into it, you kind of do want to know everything, you're like, fuck.
Yeah.
I hope they don't do that with this Spotify shit. I hope they keep it like clean and concise and they try it out with like maybe one story or two stories.
Yeah, like give me a Batman series. I want like, I don't know, like him fighting the fucking Court of Owls or like Ra's al Ghul.
True.
Yeah.
You know what's wild about this, right? Spotify's owned by Disney. It's part of that big conglomerate.
Oh yeah,
Spotify,
it is.
Hulu, all of it.
Well, do they own them or do they have shares?
They're the major shareholder?
Something I know they are with Hulu at least.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they own Hulu outright at this point because they were a major shareholder, and then they bought Fox, who was another major shareholder,
Uh-huh.
and I think that made them majority. But I'm
Damn.
not sure about Spotify because Spotify and Hulu were a team for a little bit.
Mm-hmm. I'm definitely still on that deal. Like Hulu
Yeah.
for free because I own Spotify. Yeah.
Yeah. That's nice. But so DC Universe, I'm kind of surprised this content isn't going to be made for that.
Mm.
And then DC Universe is also like allegedly, like what was the thing you were telling me about? Because I've heard two things.
It's pretty cool, and anybody that likes comics and comic books, check out Absolute Comics. Not a fucking sponsor,
Yeah.
by the way, but it's the guys who used to be the Weekly Pool,
Yeah.
minus Rob
From
Yeah.
Comics Explained.
from Comics Explained.
Not a
Exactly.
sponsor, but like one of the best YouTube channels ever.
Yeah. Well, Benny on the podcast was stating his theory that was basically saying that Warner Brothers had more or less set up kind of like a Kickstarter for their own content. And they were saying the DC Universe Online, is that
Yeah.
what it's called officially?
I think officially that's the title.
Like they basically created their own production company and built it as a streaming service, but really it was a platform for them to build content and sell to other networks.
Which is what they've been doing heavy the last like 3 months.
Yeah. His example was basically that everything they had on that service was available elsewhere, with the exception of Titans,
True. But
And-
Titans is on Netflix now, right?
in other countries.
Oh, in other countries.
Right, because they never even bothered to try and get their content in other countries because it just everything about DC Universe just feels like they're trying to undercut themselves.
Yeah.
And the only thing that does really make sense is that they were trying to create content to sell.
Right.
Like they're not competing with the people that they're selling to.
Very true.
Yeah.
It's also weird though because it looks like they're going to get rolled into HBO Max.
Mm-hmm.
Right now you can actually get this crazy deal. Not a sponsor, by the way. If you have the DC Universe, you can get HBO Max as like a bundle for like $5 more. So
Wow.
you end up like getting both for like a couple bucks less than HBO Max.
That sounds like a really good deal.
It does. I'm trying to
Yeah.
figure out how to do it because I definitely canceled my subscription to DC Universe like after we watched Swamp Thing.
Yeah.
Because Doom Patrol sucked ass, and that's on HBO Max anyway.
Yeah, they picked up the second season on HBO Max.
Right. So
Yeah.
all the new seasons of stuff coming out, like they moved Swamp Thing to CW and then scrapped it. Which is bullshit.
Yeah.
They're like, we're going to rerun it on CW, but
But you're never going to get a sequel to it.
there's not going to be a second sequel because fuck it. We're going to use him in HBO Max's Justice League Dark.
Yeah. Which should be fucking awesome, hopefully, if J.J. Abrams doesn't fuck it up.
Yeah, if J.J. Abrams doesn't give it the old Rise
Star
of the
Wars
Skywalker shit,
treatment. Yeah.
yeah,
Fuck.
it could be great. But before we get dragged into a Star Wars rant,
Yeah.
Star Trek?
Yeah.
A cartoon.
I
But
sent
an
you...
adult cartoon?
I don't even know if it's an adult cartoon. To be honest, I think it's like billed. Well, okay, first off, it's called Star Trek Lower Deck,
Yeah.
right? And I sent it to you because I thought it looked stupid as fuck and it looked like
Right.
a Rick and Morty bootleg.
Yeah, because
TV
it's
show.
drawn like Rick and Morty, but it's kind of funny.
Well, it's because it's the animation team that did Rick and Morty.
Oh, yeah. It's going to be
But-
Cartoon Network, right?
No, I think it's sci-fi
Sci-fi.
or something
Sci-fi
like that.
gets the weirdest shit.
Yeah. Well, it feels like everybody gets Star Trek. If you have any interest in Star Trek, Paramount's just like, do it.
That's where they're kind of
You
like
can have
Stephen King with it.
I guess.
They're like, for $1, you can use one of my intellectual properties
yeah.
as long as it's not spoken for.
They're not even looking at you. He's just like
Yeah, give,
reaching around for a book, and then he's like, just do this one.
give me the $1.
Yeah.
Wait, why do you have Patrick Stewart? No.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, just like Seth MacFarlane getting the Orville. They did that Picard show, which would, I mean, the amount that I watched was cool.
Picard was good.
Yeah.
It was the most exciting Star Trek I've seen ever, I think.
But does that feel like a standard Star Trek?
It didn't. It felt like one of the movies done as a series with a lot of nods to the old series.
Yeah. It almost feels like a fan project, right?
It did.
Yeah. I don't know. It's just, I guess my point is that I'm not really a Star Trek fan, but this just feels really weird from the outside looking in.
Right.
Like, you guys don't care about the continuity between TV shows and like how your property's treated.
Dude, right now they have 2 universes existing at the same time.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
And at one point they were even plotting more movies in both universes to come out like almost sequentially. Like how fucking confusing is that?
I don't know.
They're like, this is the Kelvin timeline. And then the Star Trek people are supposed to just accept it like, oh, yes, a different timeline. Because we pseudo-explained it in one movie.
But it's not that weird of concept to wrap your head around, you know?
It's not, but for like casuals who are going to be like 90% of your money, it is.
You don't think the average viewer could watch it and be like, I mean, I understand them not knowing just from starting the series, like, oh, this is probably in the Kelvin timeline. But if they explain that there was 2 universes, you don't think that...
Do you explain it every time?
I guess not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you either have to explain it every time, or it's just confusing, or you have to make the movie such an action like shoot 'em up, ride some dirt bikes and shit.
Listen to Beastie Boys where they reference Star Trek.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You just got to make it that over the top to where the casual person's like, that movie was goddamn fun. I had a goddamn fun time. You know?
That's where Stan Lee had it right, man. He was like, every comic is somebody's first comic.
Right.
You know?
So you needed like something contained to give somebody like a point to step in.
Yeah. You could have like an ongoing narrative, but at least, you know, explain it if you have to.
Yeah. See, I got out of comics and I've never had a stepping point back into comics. Not in DC, not in Marvel. I've heard you can read Image comics and some of them are actually good. I haven't read any Image comics like that I can remember.
Just do like me and wait for big events.
Wait for big events?
Yeah.
Then you don't know what the fuck's been going on for the last like 10 years.
It's fine. Everything's fucked anyway. And then it's like, Doom is God. And you're like,
why is Tony Stark with Mary Jane Watson?
I'm kind of digging it.
I'm so confused. So speaking of sidebar spin-off bullshit, I'm going to do every segue on this episode with so speaking of.
Yeah. Up next.
Yeah. More sideshow spin-off fucking bullshit. So remember, like a couple months ago,
we
were talking about Johnny Depp got culture canceled or cancel cultured or whatever because he got accused of beating up the girl from Aquaman.
I feel like everybody needs to like reevaluate their shittiness after that.
Because then we found out she cut his goddamn finger off.
Yeah.
And she was the abuser.
I remember so many people were like, Johnny Depp is a piece of shit.
Yeah.
When that happened.
My mom was like, I don't want to fuck him anymore.
That was
she
really
didn't say
weird.
Fuck him anymore.
I think she did.
No, she didn't. She was like, I don't really like him anymore.
But then she took away her little standee with the dildo and stuff.
Shut the fuck up. Anyway. They're doing a spin-off that's Margot Robbie and the person who wrote fucking Birds of Prey with her. What the fuck?
I'm fine with it.
You're fine with it?
Yeah.
But at the same time, they haven't canceled the reboot. So there's going to be a reboot.
Yeah.
It's like Captain Jack Sparrow, Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yep.
Right? And then off to the side,
there's going to be a side story.
There's going to be Birds of Prey at sea.
Yeah.
Seabirds at prey, if you will.
What could you possibly have against it?
The ospreys.
Yeah.
Because Harley Quinn and the Birds of Prey was the shittiest movie I've ever seen in theater.
Now let me ask you this. When was the last time you even gave a shit about Pirates of the Caribbean?
The third one.
I haven't given a shit since the second one, so I beat you out a little bit.
The second one sucked, but it ended on a cliffhanger, so I had to watch the third one.
Right.
So I very much gave a shit when the third one came out, because I was hoping it could redeem it. And instead, it's like 3-something hours of like Johnny Depp trying to like shoehorn in like character bits in this movie. Like, oh, this is Johnny Depp like, acting by himself for like 8, 9, 10, 20 minutes.
Yeah. There's a Kraken.
Yeah, there's a goddamn Kraken. Yeah. Like visually, those movies look cool as shit. They've never looked bad. Like even the first one, all the way through, they've never looked bad. The first one is a good movie, but it's a self-contained story. It didn't need a sequel. It definitely didn't need a 2-part fucking sequel.
Yeah.
And then they didn't need a 4th one or a 5th one. I think there's a 5th one.
So this is my exact point.
Okay.
Who gives a shit?
Who gives a shit?
Yeah, like, if they did another one with Johnny Depp, would you be, like, chomping at the bit to get to the movie theater outside of the whole COVID thing and not being able to go to the movie theater for a long time?
Nah.
Exactly. So
It's something I would go see to talk about on the podcast, but I wouldn't, I wouldn't, like, I can't wait for Pirates of the Caribbean.
In my opinion, man, this is fucking Marvel Knights. You remember how, like, Daredevil's not selling?
Yeah.
Right? So they give it to Marvel Knights. Marvel Knights takes the concept, they give you, like, a reboot, and they usually go in a much darker tone, and they do something crazy with it.
And they give us that badass version of Bullseye.
Yeah. That, like, kills Elektra or something, right?
Yeah.
And if it doesn't work, it doesn't... What?
He had an adamantium spine.
Okay.
Shit was on fire.
My point is, if it doesn't work, it doesn't work, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you didn't care about it in the first place.
True.
So
like, I go see it, I get shitty about it. I'm shitty about it on the podcast 1 week, and I never think about it again.
Yeah.
It didn't hurt me.
Exactly.
Okay.
Like, if Margot Robbie does a bad job, she just did a bad job.
Yeah, fuck it. She's already done a bad job in several movies.
Yeah. We can only benefit from this, because I wouldn't have gone to see a sequel.
Because what if it's good?
Yeah.
And then there's still a reboot.
Sure.
So we have 2 eggs in the basket.
Yeah.
One of the eggs breaks.
As the ultimate consumers, me and you.
Yeah.
Right?
We're still going to consume the eggs.
They're giving us a fucking buffet.
True.
Right?
We'll lick the broken egg up off the goddamn concrete.
They're like, over here, there's the Margot Robbie Pirates of the Caribbean. And then over here, you have the fresh reboot. Which do you like more? And we're like, I might try a little bit of both.
I see.
Yes.
Indeed. It's like when you go to the buffet and you get some cheese pizza with your Chinese food.
Yeah. Because we all know it's not going to be any good.
Yeah.
But you're going to get it anyway.
It's like shit pizza.
Yeah, it's like morbid curiosity, right?
Right.
Yeah. Take a bite and you leave it on the plate.
Yeah. Okay. So I can just take a bite of this Margot Robbie Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yeah.
It'll be shitty. I'll be shitty about it on the podcast.
Leave it on the plate, and then busboy takes it away, and they're like, son of a bitch didn't eat his food.
Yeah, we'll pretend this shit never happened.
Yeah, there we go.
Throw it in the trash.
Moving on. You sent me a text about Bevis and Butthead.
Yeah.
Coming back in 2020.
Why the fuck would you do this?
I don't understand how you do it.
I don't understand how or why.
How or why?
It's 2020. So Bevis and Butthead, if you haven't watched it in a while, is like cruelty to animals, misogyny, like...
It's 2 skeevy stoner teens.
Yeah, like...
in the 90s, like...
running around, like, skeezing on women and being homophobic and, like, getting high, hurting animals, like...
making fun of music videos.
Yeah. Like, literally just ripping the shit out of them.
Yeah.
I don't know how you do that now. Because people are going to get fucking... If it's good, people will be hurt and offended. And Beavis and Butthead was controversial when it was out.
I don't ever remember being like, this is my favorite show ever. I remember there being moments that I thought was cool.
Yeah.
But, like, as far as, like, a Mike Judd, anything, like, Office Space was good, and, like, King of the Hill was really funny.
Yeah, King of the Hill is much better than Beavis and Butthead.
Yeah.
But I guess you're not going to reboot King of the Hill.
I was going to say, well, he did Wholesome really well in King of the Hill.
Doesn't Disney own King of the Hill technically now?
Oh my God, they do.
Yeah.
Because it was Fox.
It was. They added it to Hulu.
How the fuck does that work?
I don't know.
Are they going to do Beavis and Butthead?
No, Beavis and Butthead is going to be done by Cartoon Network.
Oh, because it was MTV.
Right.
Yeah, okay.
So he had a pre-existing
But King of the Hill started in Beavis and Butthead.
It did.
Oh my God, I'm so confused right now.
I mean, he just kind of recycled a character. Like, that's not Hank Hill.
It is Hank Hill, though.
It's exactly like Hank Hill.
It's Hank Hill.
Yeah. They just made him like a little younger for King of the Hill. So if anything, King of the Hill is like almost a prequel to Beavis and Butthead. What if it's prophetic and it's going to be the 90s after COVID?
Yeah?
Yeah.
What? It's going to be the 90s after COVID?
Yeah. That which has happened will happen again.
Yeah. We regress 20 years.
Yeah. 30 years. We're starting at the beginning of the 90s.
27.
Ooh.
Came out in 93.
Isn't that Jim Carrey shit?
Oh, shit.
Fuck. Down the rabbit hole we go.
The third horseman of the apocalypse. Like
Jim Carrey.
Yeah.
He's like, somebody stop me. So speaking of bullshit reboots from like the 90s,
Yeah.
I guess the 80s technically, but then into the 90s, it was super, super abused as a franchise.
Mm-hmm.
They're rebooting the Highlander.
Yeah.
At this point, I'm unsure if it's a movie or TV show.
I heard it was a movie.
Okay. Who knows? Maybe they'll bring back Adrian Paul. He still looks young.
Okay,
Although
so
he wouldn't be immortal then.
I didn't see, too much on the internet about it, even though people have been reporting about this for the better part of 8 months.
Yeah.
But the video I just watched basically said that it was going to be a movie and it was going to follow the characters from the movie.
So like a straight reboot.
Yeah.
Like it's going to be Christopher Lambert and Sean Connery.
But Sean Connery is Spanish,
Yeah.
even though he's Scottish.
Well, he's a Spanish in the movie. He's Spanish. I don't know why he's Spanish. And Christopher Lambert, who I believe is like of French descent.
Yeah, plays a Scottish.
Yeah, plays a Scottish guy.
What the fuck was with the...
So like Lambert is Scottish and Connery is Spanish. Maybe they'll do some like proper casting this time. And maybe they won't have to kill Sean Connery off in the first one for like to make the movie good and then realize that people like him, so they bring him back.
Well, you have to kill him.
Like, constantly.
Isn't that the point though? That there can only be one?
Yeah.
And like instead of making a friend kill his friend or mentor, whatever you want to call it, like he's taken out by the opposition, which fuels the hero to...
Right.
Yeah.
The problem with the Highlander, I think, is they didn't realize it was going to be a big franchise.
Mm-hmm. Well, it never was a big franchise.
Everything after the first movie is actually really bad, except the TV show with Adrian Paul was pretty good.
Yeah.
Well, pretty bad. It didn't age well, but for its time, little Jamie loved it.
I attempted to go back and rewatch it at one point.
Little Jamie loved that shit.
I remember, yeah.
Adult Jamie watching that, like, in his 30s, is like...
Damn.
Although, like, the 90s style haircuts and, like, those 90s style, like, women that he's always getting with.
Uh-huh. Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They get the old thumbs up of approval.
Man, well, this one, I think, is pretty awesome. This one, as a remake, the director of Let the Right One In, I remember he got so shitty when they did Let Me In.
Yeah.
He said a quote that was super awesome. He was like, you don't remake a movie unless you can do it better.
Right.
Right? And I think this is the perfect movie to remake.
Because there's a lot of room to do it better. Yeah,
because the old movie was cool. It really was.
Yeah.
But you're kind of reading in between the lines on all the coolness.
It has that 1980s style where it's kind of disjointed.
Uh-huh.
Almost.
But there's like a lot of cool lore weaved into it.
Right.
Like, can you imagine like all these people fighting from like the beginning of time?
Yeah.
Chopping off fucking heads with claymores?
In the movie, you see like 4 of them.
Yeah.
But there's way more.
Yeah, and you're super stoked. Like, oh my God, they're going to make a series of these? And what is that fucking Queen in the background singing?
Oh, yeah, the soundtrack to that movie is awesome. And then they made the goddamn sequel.
Mm-hmm.
The Quickening, which is like the worst movie ever. Because somehow it's a sequel, but it doesn't even need to be a sequel. Like, he was the end. He was the last one. And it was over. And they're like, but it's not over because dollars.
Yeah, I was about to say, doesn't it like reset every once in a while?
It wasn't supposed to.
So it literally was like a competition that was happening for all time.
Yeah.
And had a definitive conclusion.
Correct.
I literally thought it reset like every...
That's what they told you in the second movie.
Oh.
The second movie, they're also space aliens and some shit.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, go back and watch that shit. They come from like another planet.
What the fuck?
Yeah. That's so people try to ignore that movie, right? And then they try to say, oh, well, Highlander 3 is the sequel to Highlander 1. But Highlander 3 is not good either.
What happens in Highlander 3?
I don't even fucking remember. I just remember it being abysmal. Yeah.
Yeah?
So it's better than the second one, but the third one is abysmal.
Okay.
So then you have like, okay, well, we're going to cool it with this cast. We're not going to do it.
Uh-huh.
And then they do Highlander on TV. But somehow they bring goddamn Christopher Lambert in to like in the early episode because Adrian Paul is his cousin. You got far enough to see that shit, right?
I just remember him having like a really nice apartment and like he was kind of like a detective or something.
He lived on a boat.
I thought he had an apartment. Did he have?
He had an apartment at the first season.
Okay,
and he's like an art dealer.
Yeah.
And he has like a hot wife who's a sculptor or something. She like is always like welding shit.
Yeah. And everybody constantly goes like, "Where did you get these antiques? This is priceless."
And he's like,
I was there.
I'm very lucky.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that show ran for like 5 seasons. 6 seasons. It was good. And then Bill Clinton got the spinoff of that canceled.
Did Bill Clinton really get the spinoff of that canceled?
Bill Clinton had an affair. This isn't like G.I. Joe.
No,
this isn't like G.I. Joe. You can look this up. It's quantifiable.
This is bullshit right off the bat. This is something that your mom told you.
So there's a spinoff of Highlander. They did like a somehow like a fan write-in type contest, and they picked like what character would get a spinoff, right? And they picked this girl character, and they did a whole season, and it ended on a cliffhanger. It's called Highlander the Raven. But then it came out in the news that Bill Clinton had an affair with the actress in that, and Fox canceled it. In
your
true
mom
Fox
told you
fashion.
this.
No, it's true. I swear to God. Look it up.
It's too convenient.
I swear to God, it's true.
Because he was trying to promote communism or something, right?
No, it's not like G.I. Joe. It's true, I swear.
All right. Well, you know.
Yeah.
I'm going to look it up, but.
Yeah, look it up. And everyone at home, look it up. And if I'm a liar, may God strike me down.
Or you need to have like a serious conversation with your mom or something.
Look, Mom, you tried to influence me politically by blaming the Democrats for canceling all my favorite things.
G.I. Joe, Highlander, fucking Thundercats. I don't know.
Poor little Jamie.
Well, speaking of there can only be one.
Ooh.
There can only be one group at Lucasfilms that wins the day. I don't know.
Bet they're going to thin the herd a bit.
I guess. Yeah.
So this is massive internet rumor.
Yeah.
That they're going to cancel the last 3 Star Wars movies. Just retcon them.
Yeah.
Goodbye.
Well, it sounded like at first that they were talking about like they're just going to straight up like the sequels never happened. We're going to refilm them.
That was what people were implying.
Yeah. And it sounded like complete and utter bullshit when I first heard it.
Yeah.
And then you kind of go down the rabbit trail, go down the rabbit hole, whatever.
Have you figured out that I started this rumor on the podcast like 4 months ago?
You didn't really start the...
I said when John Boyega started being crazy,
yep.
And he was like, fuck Star Wars. They didn't let me do my Poe Dameron love scene or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I was like, they've cut ties with John Boyega. They've cut ties with Isaac, whatever. Oscar Isaac. And they don't have Daisy Ridley under contract.
Uh-huh.
They're not going to pursue any side stories with these movies.
Yeah.
They're just going to move around them.
Yeah.
That was what I said.
Okay, well, that's not... You didn't call it, but...
I didn't call it. I think everyone in the world secretly listens to the podcast without getting on the statistics somehow. Like not getting in our analytics.
Uh-huh.
They just like download it once and then they all listen to it together. And that's where this rumor came from. Because literally every
like
uncredible source...
Like Bill Clinton listens...
Shut the fuck.
He listens to our podcast and then he like sends this one to Screen Rant and he sends this one to like fucking Dorkly.
It's not Bill Clinton's fault. We've established this. He's not the bad guy. Well, he did kill Highlander the Raven, but he didn't kill G.I. Joe, goddammit. Anyway.
So, getting back on topic anyway, So the rumor going around is they're just gonna like cancel it and they're gonna reboot it, right?
Correct.
There was a guy, fuck, what was his name? It was something Doom that was the first one who started this, reportedly. It's
me.
just a weird fucking guy dressed up in a Doom costume or something.
It was me.
He broke down the timeline for everything, right? And started explaining that like after they acquired Lucasfilms and they were doing the Star Wars stuff, they gave it to Kathleen Kennedy and she tried to like push an agenda. And I still kind of feel like that's the, you know, the douchebag right-wing kind of approach to the whole thing, you know, where they're like, oh, you know, they want women to be in Star Wars. I don't care about that.
Yeah, nobody
like
gives a
Ahsoka
shit.
Tano is awesome. And
Ahsoka Tano is the best. If you had given me 3 movies of Ahsoka Tano,
yeah,
I'd be good.
But honestly, the only true part about this is that they wanted a female actress and they didn't care how good the story was or how conjoined the films were.
True.
Right.
And they let like 3 randos do them initially.
Yeah. And apparently like her and Rian Johnson are real good friends or something. But basically the theory is saying that like they did the first one and then Bob Iger started stepping away. And that's when they did Last Jedi and they did Solo.
True.
And at this point, Bob Iger jumps back in and he's like, look, you fucked up real bad.
I paid $4 billion for this shit.
Yeah. And they couldn't get anybody to take her place. So she got another 3-year contract.
Fuck.
Right. And they tried to fix the series with the last film by backpedaling. And that didn't work either. But steadily, every movie lost money.
It did. It made less money. It didn't lose money.
No, it didn't come up negative, but it like went from like 2-point-something billion to like 1.7 to like 1.2.
Yeah.
Which is not good if you're an investor.
It's still billions, but it's not.
Yeah, but you're also not making the toy money.
Right.
Nobody wants the fucking toys. They stopped selling the toys.
Yeah, BB-8, people liked BB-8 in the first movie. That toy sold good.
Yeah.
The second one, you got no toy. Third one, no fucking toy.
Yeah.
You can go get the fucking action figures if you want, but they're shit. Or maybe some Legos.
Yeah, they're doing legacy characters. They're not doing the sequel characters.
Yeah.
Like nobody gives a shit about the sequel characters. And like to your point, they're not doing TV shows based around these characters. They did Resistance, but that flopped.
Yeah, nobody watched it. They made it for kids.
They made 2 seasons right off the bat, but that's the only reason why I got a second season.
Right.
You know? So the idea behind this theory is that Dave Filoni has been setting up kind of like a different route for Star Wars to take.
Like a workaround.
Yeah. And a lot of people want to say that they're going to use the whole Ezra Bridger theory where he goes in that time space and then they're going to create a separate universe, which I still kind of feel is bullshit.
Yeah. I feel like that would make me really, really, really mad short term, though.
Yeah.
Like, I think I would watch that movie or whatever it is. You would have to do it in a movie because it's such a big thing.
Yeah.
I feel like I would get really mad in that movie and I would be like, fuck this shit, unless you made the movie good.
Yeah.
And I'd still be like, fuck that shit. But if the movie was good enough, maybe I'm like, but the movie was good overall.
Yeah.
Right? But after that, I think I'm good.
I think so too, man. Like, I don't really like the idea of, them like literally going like, okay, now time travel is a thing.
Yeah, because fans didn't like this, so now we're gonna like use time travel to work around it instead of just retconning it.
But everybody kind of wins in that scenario, right? If you like those movies, which I feel like you're crazy if you do.
Yeah.
But if you like them, they're still there. It's just a branching timeline.
True.
Right? And then everybody that actually enjoys Star Wars, right? And likes continuity and things to make sense, have like a main 616 moving forward. And if you really think about it, everything that Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau have been doing isn't aimed towards anything that happens in those sequels.
It's not.
It's definitely moving in its own direction.
Rebels like started to tie in with Rogue One.
Yeah.
And then they didn't do anything. Like none of Dave Filoni's stuff has tied into that at all.
We're not seeing like a young Poe Dameron,
No.
Going to flight school. We're not seeing like the beginnings of the First Order.
They intentionally set Mandalorian like far enough in the past where they're never going to interact with those characters.
The only interwoven stuff that we have like within canon right now happens literally in like Aftermath.
Yeah.
Like, and if you didn't read the books, then like...
Fuck it.
Yeah.
And Aftermath was a better setup anyway.
And Bloodline.
I would have watched a goddamn Aftermath movie over that shit.
Yeah.
It would have been way better.
So, like, do you think there's anything to this? Because I definitely think, personally, that they will never give us a 7, 8, and 9 again.
Yeah.
I think we screwed the pooch on that. We're never going to get, like, Luke Skywalker back, and we're never going to get Harrison Ford, Carrie Fisher. Obviously,
never.
She passed away.
That was a fuck up.
Right. But I do think we'll get something, like, adjacent.
I don't think we ever get a 10, 11, 12.
Yeah.
I don't think we ever get another numbered Star Wars movie.
But do we need one?
We don't. I also don't think you have to rectify the timeline to still make this good.
Yeah?
I don't think enough happened in those movies that people give a shit about. Like, the people who can accept those movies don't give a shit how the Force works. Right? I think the way you fix this, you do some prequels for a little bit, you do some side stories way off to the side for a little bit, and then you just do a movie that happens in time after their shit, and you just ignore it forever.
Just ignore the fact that that period of time happened?
They happen in the Star Wars universe, you completely ignore what happens later.
Yeah. Like, I mean, I feel like a broken record saying this, but I want to see Heir to the Empire. It fits so much better.
We're never going to get Heir to the Empire now.
Why? Like, give me a good reason why.
The only way we get Heir to the Empire, right?
Yeah.
Is if they do their time jump bullshit and they do a separate timeline. Because everyone involved in Heir to the Empire, except maybe Thrawn, is dead.
No, Heir to the Empire happens like 4 years after Return of the Jedi. My point is that you would recast them as younger people.
And then just try to shoehorn it in, like, between... Like, knowing that this event is not going to change the course of anything.
No. This is kind of like the whole point of it. Is that the 7, 8, and 9 movies never happen. Right?
I don't think we'll ever get that.
No, why not?
As much as we want it.
Nobody's buying anything related to it. Nobody's like... They're not selling any TV shows. We're not getting toys. The whole fan base seems to fucking hate it. Like, why not just make movies that disregard those movies?
Has that ever been done?
Well, we're getting the Zack Snyder cut.
Damn. Yeah, I mean, that's similar.
Yeah, and we got fucking Terminator.
Oh, true.
We got Halloween.
Terminator was super, super bad, though, in the box office.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm just saying, like, this isn't the first time it's been done.
That's true.
And I'm not talking about remakes. I'm just talking about movies that don't hold true to what those movies said.
And you have to give it a lot of time. I think it becomes really confusing.
So, the people that care about it want it.
They do.
And they're the people that are not spending money on Star Wars right now because they hate what they're doing with it.
But no one is.
Yeah, but if you give the fans something they want, the casual people are too dumb to realize.
That's what you say. See, here's the problem with Star Wars, right?
Yeah.
When they did those 3 movies, they were trying to bring in a new fan base. The same thing with when they did Rebels or Resistance.
Yeah.
They were trying to bring in a younger fan base. So they're trying to bring this audience into Star Wars, right? And they tried to do the first movie and like do that and appease the fans, right?
Yeah.
And then the fans bitched and bitched and bitched and bitched, right? But the movie made a shit ton of money.
Yeah.
So when they did the next one, they were like, well, the fans just bitched and bitched and they fucking disrespected us and they hate us. So let's make this movie more for people that hate Star Wars. let's just focus on those new fans, kind of like how the Avengers movies, they got some comic fans, but initially, like, comic fans were all over the internet bitching about, that's not the way it happened in issue 6 of Amazing, Fantastic Captain America. You know what I mean?
I mean, I think that's a mute point though, because like if you really, it's like saying that like because we made Resistance, it's a thing that's out there. We have to continue the Resistance like series because we can't fucking possibly go back, because there's like 12 people that like that series.
You don't, because it's on the small screen. I don't think you're worried about the people so much as confusing the audience.
But the audience that actually cares are the ones that want the change.
Is that too meta?
No, it's not. We're getting a fucking Snyder cut. Like,
I feel like the Snyder cut is gimmicky and it's also too meta. Like, it's kind of like making something for the people that read the supplementary material about the author of the supplementary material.
No, I think it's all about...
You're just taking a lot of steps from watching a movie that's self-contained, and you can just sit down and watch it without knowing why they retconned this other movie that you watched a few years ago. You get my point?
No.
Not everybody follows the podcast or follows 20, 30, 40 YouTube channels or anything like that. I think you have to keep those movies canon. A time travel thing might, whatever, but you still have to go around it.
Trying to cater to an audience that doesn't like it enough to give them the kind of revenue they want for this franchise is not helping anybody. Worrying about confusing them doesn't matter. They also don't really care in the first place because, like, as we know from Rise of Skywalker, none of the information that they gave made any goddamn sense.
None of it.
So if you were like, there was a branching timeline, it's going to go right over their fucking heads. You don't make a Star Wars movie for non-Star Wars fans.
I feel like you have to be a franchise that justifies $4 billion investment.
I feel like if you're going to spend $4 billion, you need to cater to the people that want to buy your product.
But you have to grow beyond them.
Yes, and you grow beyond them by making good content, not just trying to appeal to like 20% of people that don't mix with your main audience.
I think we have to agree to disagree.
Yeah.
Because I think you have to expand, and if you alienate your potential audience, your like close fan base is going to eventually dwindle out.
If I opened up a pizza restaurant, I love bringing food into this, right?
Shit.
If I opened up a pizza restaurant and I am known in the neighborhood as a pizza restaurant, and people come to me because I make very good pizza, right? And now I've decided that my pizza tastes like peanut butter and jelly, right? Now all of the people that come to my restaurant to get pizza are confused. And they're like, why does it taste like peanut butter and jelly? And I say it's because I'm expanding. Other people out there like peanut butter and jelly. And they don't like pepperoni and cheese. And it's time to appeal to them. That doesn't make any goddamn sense.
Well, I think that's where Kathleen Kennedy fucked up. Because here's the problem, right? In your own analogy, if you're the pizza guy in the community, and you now have 100% of the community that likes pizza coming to your pizza spot, you don't have any room for growth anymore. 100% of pizza lovers eat the shit out of Dustin's pizza. But there's this whole community doesn't eat pizza. They only eat burgers. And what Kathleen Kennedy did is she tried to sell them peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. And the burger people don't like peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. And the pizza people are like, God damn it, this used to be the best pizza place ever. And now I'm eating PB&Js.
Yeah.
And everyone collectively just threw their hands up and said, what the fuck?
Yeah. But what it sounds like to me is your argument is you need to keep it a peanut butter and jelly sandwich place, Because otherwise everybody's going to get confused. Like, you need to stay the course.
No, that's not what I'm saying at all. I'm saying you need to go back to selling pizza, right? But you need to also offer burgers.
But why can't we just tell everybody my bad about the peanut butter and jelly sandwiches? And that used to be a thing. It was pretty cool when it happened for those people that liked it. But yeah, we'll do burgers now and we'll do pizza like we used to.
Yeah, but the PB&J was ass.
Yeah, that's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
It can be a big elephant in the room, and we can just kind of say that it was like a bad point in history.
Are you saying we need to take down the statues of Kylo Ren?
I think we do.
All right. Well, that's an episode. If you enjoy this dribble and our goddamn argument, you can check us out at the firebearrepublic.com or the Firebear Republic on Instagram, Facebook, Spotify, fucking anywhere you get your podcasts. And you can interact with us on Twitter.
At Firebear Podcast.
Have a good week.
See ya.
Bye.